Hey there, welcome. I'm Charlotte Smith of 3 Cow Marketing and the Profitable Farm Facebook group. If you're not in there, jump in there. We need you in there. We've got like 5,200 farmers now, lots of great advice and lots of great help going on in there. Today though, I'm jumping in here to talk to you about a new checklist I've got today. If you click the link above the video or wherever it is you're watching this video, you're going to get this Storefront checklist. Now, if you're on my email list already, you got it delivered to your inbox, so just check that. If not, download this. It is maybe 12 pages long of things that will help you make the way you sell, whether it's a farmer's market booth or a drop site and delivery service or a on-farm store or another store, off-farm store. It is going to make them any one of those more profitable, sustainable, and it'll just make you last longer in this field, you know. So the reason I created this checklist, oh yay, Julie Campbell's here, is we have been operating our farm store and selling for about 10 years. Everything in here, if I had known this, I wish this was around 10 years ago and someone would have told me these things, because we would have been profitable sooner. We started turning a profit at about the 5-year mark. It would have been sooner. We would have just been less stressed sooner. We would have made more money sooner, you know, which helps with everything to do with the farm. So I wrote down everything that helped us with our farm store, and it's in this free checklist. That's why I'm sharing it with you. Now, why is this so helpful direct to consumer? I work with a lot of farmers. We have several hundred marketing students, farm marketing students each year take our course. Many of them are new to sales, and many of them are experienced farmers that are trying to add direct sales to their current farm model to help save their farm in many cases. A lot of the farmers I hear from are making the same, they're getting paid the same for grain and soybeans and things that they were in 1973, many of them have said. So something's got to change, or they aren't going to be in business long term. So they're trying to add direct marketing. So it doesn't matter whether you're an experienced farmer, a beginning farmer, there is something in here you will learn. One of the first things I talk about in this download is that we have a great advantage over places like Amazon, and I'm just checking Facebook, make sure I'm live on here, and Whole Foods and Walmart. They have the advantage where they can compete by price and convenience, right? We're never going to compete with them on that. The thing we have that they do not have is we build a connection and a relationship with our customers from the get-go, from the instant they meet us, and I teach you how to do that. Because of that advantage, it's easier to get customers, and they are loyal. They don't leave. And everyone is looking for connection and relationship today. I have not met a person that is not looking for that in anything they buy or do in life. That is what they are seeking. We can offer that to them. It's not the eggs you sell that they're going to drive an hour out of their way to pay $8 a dozen for your eggs. That's not why they come out. It's that connection and that relationship. The market booth you have at the farmer's market, the drop site delivery you do once a month, or your farm store is the place you offer that. And then it doesn't matter what you sell or what price you sell it at, they will buy from you. It is very exciting for me to have seen this happen on our farm day after day, year after year, but also our students we work with. I get the emails and they say that's exactly the same path that they take on their farm in their sales process too. So all these things will work. So get yourself set up in one of those. Another point I want to make before we move on is the model you choose, you need to make that work for you. It's not that one model is better than another. They will all work. If it's not working for you, then you've got some research to do and some changes to make before you try to expand to another one. So if you have an on-farm store and you're not making your 35% profit margin, and you don't have a loyal customer base, and you're having a hard time getting the price you need to charge and getting people to come out to you, you need to fix that problem first before you just jump to farmers markets, for instance. I see too many people that say, well, our farmers market isn't working, so we're going to start a delivery service. Or our farmers market isn't working, so we're going to build an on-farm store. Or our farm store isn't working, so we're going to start a delivery service. You have to make the model you choose work for you first, and I can teach you how, much of it for free. So learn how to make the one work that you've already chosen. Any of them will work. I have farmers that live 8 hours from the nearest big city, and their whole business is built, their whole business model is built on making a delivery once a month. Of course, it takes all day, but then they're done, and they've learned how to pre-sell everything so that they show up, most of it's paid for, they do a few transactions, they build relationship, and they're done. So don't worry if you're a farmer and you thought, well, there's no farmers markets near me, or the farmers markets that are near me don't have any traffic to them, so therefore I can't be successful. It's not true. I see successful farmers, when they learn how to make this work for them, they build a successful farm no matter what business model is available to them or for their sales outlet. So choose one, make it work really well for you, and I can help you learn how to do exactly that before you expand. So now I have farmers I've worked with that do an on-farm store and a farmer's market. They do both, but not until they got really good at one. So find which one works for you and get really good at it. Speaking of expert interviews, I've been interviewing several of our marketing students lately on their farm models of how they sell. I have 20 to 30-minute expert interviews. Those will be available in January as part of our Sales Made Simple course. It's been very exciting to see that what I'm talking to you about here today is what makes them profitable. There is nothing else I have found, or else I would teach it, that works better than learning how to build relationships with people and consistently connect with them. Once you do that, you are golden, and your business is golden. I just can't tell you enough how true that is, and you're going to hear it from other people too, starting in January. All right, so once you've decided how to sell, there's the 9 steps in this download. One of them I wanted to expand on today, and that is accepting credit cards, because I still get farmers that will email or make a post in the Facebook group that say, how can I avoid credit card fees, or where can I get the best, lowest credit card fees? You can't avoid them, for one, and you don't want to, frankly. Say they average 3%, which even if they average 3.5%, that's $3.50 per $100 that someone spends with you. Doesn't matter if it's $3.75. That is the cost of doing business today. And if you don't accept credit cards, you are losing out on a ton of business. The cost is minimal. It's such a small price to pay. So you got to accept credit cards. I talk about that in the download. We use Square, talk a little bit about that in there. What I noticed is when I started accepting credit cards, our sales, the totals for the day, each day, probably doubled immediately. And it was a really interesting study for us in psychology in our farm store, anecdotal psychology study we did, that if people have to pay cash or check, they spend about $50 or less. But as soon as we took credit cards, they would realize we take credit cards, and they would go back to the fridge and back to the freezers and pull out more product and spend $100 or $200. It was a no-brainer. So I'm telling you the same thing. In order to be long-term financially viable, sustainable, you really need to accept credit cards in today's world. To ask someone to mail you a check for something it's really outdated. It makes you look unprofessional. And frankly, you will lose lots of business because some people don't even have stamps laying around the house anymore. I'm one of those. So if I have to mail something, I actually have to drive to town and go find a stamp at the supermarket or the post office. So make it easy on your customers and just accept that as the cost of doing business. The other thing in the download, and I've got 9 things in there that increased our sales significantly. The other thing that increased them significantly is when we switched to glass front refrigerators and freezers. There is something intimidating to people when you have a solid front on your, you don't have a window, they can't see through your fridge or your freezer. They feel like they're prying, or, you know, it's too awkward for them. They feel like they're not supposed to look inside. So as soon as we got one glass front fridge, our sales increased again. It was a no-brainer. Now, these are easy for you to pick up used if you're just starting out, if you don't have the budget to go out and buy all brand new ones, which I certainly didn't. We bootstrapped our whole farm for 10 years. So as I made more money and budgeted for a used $1,000 fridge, that's what I got. And then when I was able to budget for the spendier one that lowered our electric bill, we were able to purchase that one. So time helped us there, but start out with a used one. Again, our sales increased a ton as soon as we switched to glass front. So we found them I bought them used off of Craigslist, a local restaurant supply store in Portland, and I bought them from friends who are no longer needing them, who were either farmers or, restaurant people too. So look around. I'm sure you can find a glass top or a glass front fridge or freezer. One of the expert interviews I just referenced, be out in January. She took a small glass front freezer, tipped it on its back to convert it to holding meat for the farmer's market because it was small enough she could lift out of her pickup at the farmer's market and then lift it back in there at the end of the day when she was done. So what a great option. You guys, we're farmers. We are creative problem solvers. And I thought that was like the best advice ever. I didn't even think of that. Buy a glass front, half like a dorm size freezer. It was an ice cream freezer, a tabletop ice cream freezer. Turn it on its back, convert it. Just know that you can't return it once you have converted it, and use that at the farmer's market. Because same thing, if you're at the farmer's market, people want to see your product. One last tip, let people handle the product. If they're standing there looking at steaks in your freezer, you reach in there, grab those steaks out, and hand it to them to hold. As soon as they can start touching product, they will buy lots more. All right? So those are just 3 of the 9 steps. So get it. The link is there. If you're on our email list, you already got it in your email inbox, and you won't get it again. And let me try to find the front page again. There it is, Storefront checklist. It is my 10 years of learning put into one simple checklist. It's something that I wish someone had told me 10 years ago. It would have saved me a ton of money. We would have been profitable years sooner. And then all the stress that goes with building a farm and, trying to work with cash flow and lack of cash flow those first few years, that would have been alleviated. It would have alleviated a lot of that stress had I known these things sooner. So download it, get it. If you have any questions, let me know. Let me see if I am talking away here, not even paying attention, but it looks like we don't have any questions. But if you keep asking them, we always come back here later and check them too. All right, that's it for today. I hope you're having a fabulous day. Email me if you have great success with this or any more questions, and we will talk soon.